Yo, do you be gassing yourself up? Let's talk about it.
Big Safe.
Fat Man Scoop, Brooklyn Clan. What's up, y'all? This is Fat Man Scoop. And right now, you watching the sensei, the number one, the king, my dude, Big Brando. He taught me, personally, me, Fat Man Scoop. All you gotta do is keep your mouth closed and your ears open. Listen to the man talk. That's knowledge personified right there. And I wouldn't trust nobody else but my dude, Big Brando. And I said it. Fat Man Scoop, Big Brando. Let's go.
What's happening, everybody? Boy, Big Brando, and today let's talk about gassing ourselves up and then getting our feelings hurt. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because this is something that I struggled with and sometimes still do. And I also see a lot of people going through this same exact thing, so I know all about that heartbreak. What I'm talking about is right when you get your press, you got some shirts, you got your design going, you just got some transfers in, you press that first shirt up, and it's that feeling when you see that first design pressed onto the shirt. That's your hard work coming to life. Now, that feeling, we all feel that. The reality of that feeling is sometimes the market don't care about your hard work. Sometimes the market don't care about that design. Sometimes the market don't care about the blank t-shirt you use. Sometimes the market doesn't even care about the equipment that you invested in for your business. Just because we feel a sense of accomplishment from pressing that first shirt and wanting to put it out to sell, the market will humble you quickly. And this is the shitty part about the business, is that feeling that you get when you press that shirt or that hat for the first time. Nobody else can share that except for you. As much as you want to express to the world how you feel, the world doesn't care. Nobody cares but yourself. And we all get hyped up. We all gas ourselves up after that first press and we're like, all right, yeah, it's go time now. Let me bang out a dozen of these, put these on my website. They're about to fly off the shelves. It doesn't matter what the design looks like. It could be straight text. It could be your hand drawing. It could be something that you paid for. It doesn't matter. Your designs still have to connect with the customer. The customer still has to relate to the design in order for it to sell. I remember the very first time that I got a heat press. I had a cheap Chinese knockoff heat press, my first time getting into vinyl. And I'm talking about using really thick vinyl because that was the only thing accessible to me back then. My design was straight text with some fonts that were just on my computer. Nothing fancy. I was just trying to test out the cutter, test out the vinyl, and test out me pressing a shirt for the very first time. So you can imagine the sense of accomplishment after setting up my vinyl cutter for the first time, sending some vinyl through, accomplishing a solid cut for once without the blade jamming, without the vinyl skewing to the side. This was my first clean cut. Took the vinyl out, I weeded it up, I made sure I mirrored that thing. Everything was perfect. Set up my heat press, pressed that thing on the shirt, pulled it up, looked at it, and was like, damn, this is my first shirt made with the heat press. We're in business. I'm thinking, man, I could do so many one-off t-shirts. I no longer have to set up and clean up all the screens, reclaim the ink, no more using emulsion on the screens, no more pressure washing. This is everything running through my head when I first got my first heat press. I remember I made one for myself, I made some for some friends because I was eager to talk about this new printing process, how easy it is, the endless possibilities, and what the whole business plan was going to be. But for one, my design was lacking because it was just straight text with a regular font that wasn't appealing to nobody. What it said didn't mean nothing to nobody. So as I gave these t-shirts out for free, I noticed there was no excitement behind it. I was excited, I was hyped up, but nobody else really cared. So that let a little bit of air out of my tires already. Then a few days later, one of my homies was like, yo, I washed that t-shirt and the print's peeling up. Looks like a big ass sticker. Then the real doubt started to kick in. Then it was like, damn, did I mess up? Because my homie's telling me you need to stop doing this and go back to screen printing. Now I'm starting really to rethink my choices. All the wind is out of my sails and I'm like, man, after floating on this natural high thinking I found the next best thing, I was quickly drugged right back down because I have subpar quality. Nobody's excited about this like I am. And it's a kick to the ego, man. So first things first, I had to figure out why the vinyl wasn't sticking. First thing I did was I blamed the vinyl. I said, man, I got to find me a new vinyl manufacturer because the vinyl I'm using sucks. It doesn't hold up on the t-shirt. What I didn't know is it was operator error. It was me pressing the vinyl on incorrectly. Yes, I was using the same exact recommended instructions that came on the vinyl roll. What I didn't know is that my cheap heat press, the readout might have been saying 375, but it was actually pressing at like 405. This is way before I knew anything about a laser thermometer gun. I just couldn't figure it out. I didn't even bother to adjust the settings because I didn't even know that was a thing. because at the time I didn't even have a pressure knob on that machine. That's how old this machine was. It was just a clamshell, and the way to adjust the pressure wasn't a knob on top. What it was is you have to flip the press over on its back, and there was a screw on the bottom that you actually had to take a screwdriver and screw up. Then that made the plate go closer to the actual platen, if you can imagine what I'm talking about. So this is the part that goes up and down. This is the bottom platen. I had to turn it on its side, and I had to adjust the bottom platen to raise it up to increase the pressure. I knew nothing about that. So my first shirts that I was pressing were Pro Club, obviously. I was using an old vinyl that was really thick, but it was easy for me to get my hands on at the time. I wasn't pressing with enough pressure, and I was pressing at the wrong heat, which resulted in print peeling up after it washed. And it took me a lot of blank t-shirts and a lot of vinyl to figure out that I needed to adjust my settings in order to get it to stick. The only reason I didn't change vinyl companies was because I couldn't find another vinyl company anywhere locally to me. So I was forced to figure this stuff out. That's why I'm always preaching, adjust your settings to you and your press's needs. My press and your press might be the same, came from the same company, but there's a lot of variables in there. Pressure settings might be different. Our presses might have been calibrated at different times. The heating might be a little bit different. So just because I press something at, like, let's say 315 for 10 seconds, does that mean 315 for 10 seconds will work for you? Maybe, maybe not. You might have to adjust your heat or your pressure or your time duration. It's all trial and error. So before you go out and you sell some stuff and you press something because it looks good right off the press, remember you have to do your homework. Before you sell anything, before you give anything away, make sure that that thing is gonna hold up in the wash. Do your homework, do your research, figure out the best settings for you and your heat press. Gassing yourself up and hyping yourself up is a good feeling, but a worse feeling is when a customer comes back and says, hey, this print fell off. It's not the transfer's fault, it's not the vinyl's fault, it is the operator's fault. The operator being you pressing the shirt. You have to make sure you're applying this stuff correctly. The way you do that is test out different settings before you put anything out to the market. Before you sell anything to any customers, test out a bunch of different settings. Wash that shirt, dry that shirt, wear that shirt. Make sure you know what your customer is gonna get, because there's nothing worse than having a complaint coming to you and you losing out on a customer. I say this all the time, but you don't get rich off of one customer. You get rich off of returning customers. People that want to continue to shop with you, people that keep coming back to spend their hard-earned money with you because they thoroughly enjoy your products. So in order to keep those people coming back, make sure you have a solid product. All of these transfer companies, doesn't matter what transfer company you use, make sure you know how to lay it down. Make sure you know what it looks like after it's been washed a bunch of times. Make sure you know what it looks like after it's machine washed and machine dried a bunch of times. Just because you put care instructions in the tag doesn't mean the customer's gonna actually read that. I buy t-shirts all the time from different brands. I never look at the tag. All I look at the tag for is the size, but I never look at the care instructions. I never look at any of that other stuff. So make sure you know how that thing holds up, machine washed, machine dried. You need to be confident in your own products. It's always easy to blame the transfer company. It's always easy to blame the vinyl company. I used to do it all the time till I figured out it's not their fault, it's my fault. I'm just pressing this wrong because my press is different from their press. The instructions that they give you is based on the press that they have in their shop. This is where they've seen the most success at these settings. So this is their recommended settings with their press. They might have a pneumatic press in their shop. You have a manual press in your shop. That's already a big difference there. Heating elements might be different. Humidity in the room might be different. Moisture in the t-shirts might be different. There's a lot of things that are different from you and the actual transfer vinyl manufacturer. So before you talk down on that vinyl that you use or the transfers you spent your money on, make sure you know how to actually lay it down and lay it down correctly before you offer it to your customers. Like I said, it's easy to gas ourselves up after we see that thing pressed down for the first time. Just because it released off the backing doesn't mean it's gonna hold up in the wash. You gotta do your homework, do your research, test it out for yourself. All of this testing and research and all this stuff that I talk about is only to help you and save you from all the headaches in the future. Do the homework now so you can make the money later, all right? Hopefully this video helps somebody out. If you've been here before, please let me know in the comments, because I know we all have. I am still like that till this day. After I press something up, I'm like, yo, this thing looks dope. The market will tell you if it's dope or not. That sense of accomplishment after we press that first shirt or that first hat and that thing looks fresh, it is very easy to fall into this weird dream-like reality. But don't be fooled by the smoke and mirrors, man. Get out here, do your homework, do your research, know what designs you want to sell to your customers, pick the designs that's going to relate to your customers, and do your homework on your transfers and your vinyl. Test it out, test it out, test it out. And you're off and running, all right? If you got any questions, leave it in the comments for me. It's easier to ask all your questions in the comments because I see those and I go back and forth with those more than I do see the DMs and the emails and stuff like that. And the big reason is because sometimes people ask questions that somebody else might have that same question. And if I answer them, bingo, they could read through that and get the answers they need. So by you asking those questions, you're helping out somebody else also. And you don't have to just ask your questions on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram, Big Brando TV, and ask me questions in those comments there. All right, catch you guys on the next one, man. Yeah.